What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on something that Lucid needs to do right now and set it as a priority in order for them to succeed in the future. So I want to talk about what that is, what that will mean for us as investors. And before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that, let's get right to it. So currently down 7.73%. I'm also going to be talking on what is happening on the secondary market, dark pool, and also shorts, because what is happening behind the scenes in those cases is a little bit more abnormal as well. But getting right to it though, there was an interview that was done with Peter where he does talk on a lot of different things, one of which was dilution. I did bring this up in yesterday's video. I know some people are a little bit more mixed on dilution. That's one of those words that investors absolutely hate. But in Lucid's case, I can see some of it being very much justified. I would never want to see Lucid cut down or not be able to do any production or potentially even expand at the rate it wants to because of the lack of funding. So it's one of those sticky scenarios that investors absolutely hate dilution, but they also want it to do everything. So you can't have both. So investors need to really do their own due diligence and realize that it goes hand in hand. Dilution equals growth, in theory at least. So let me know your thoughts. Outside of that, it was a very well done interview, and this article does give a very good representation of all of the good highlights. So Peter does talk in the actual interview on how Lucid can close the gap and basically be a very big EV player in the grand scheme of things. As it stands though, we do have a very good competitive advantage, and in reality we need to capitalize on that. And in this article and in this interview, he talks on one point, as I've been stressing in a lot of other videos. So I'm going to go over this. One good takeaway as well is Peter's passion. I think some people might be mixed on Peter, whether he's the right position and so forth, but nobody can ever argue the fact that he has a massive passion for technology. And I think that's one very, very good takeaway. And this is exactly why we do have a competitive advantage, because we have Peter as a CEO. So it's one of those things. Let me know your thoughts as well if you are a fan of Peter, or if you maybe think that he needs to be swapped out or just needs to stick to tech. I don't know. Again, this is where Lucid is a starting up company. A lot of things and a lot of moving parts might need to be done in order for us to have a brilliant, amazing company. But in this actual interview as well, Peter does say that Lucid needs to be a defining brand. And I think that's one very good takeaway as well. He talks on how they need to get and obtain a $50,000 vehicle between 300 to 500 miles of range on a single use, or a single charge, I should say. Right now, Lucid does have this range for prices for the vehicles. I don't know necessarily if he's counting that lower price vehicle, mid-size SUV, by mid-decade for that 50,000 potentially, but we already know the 250 is the Sapphire. And Peter does say though that in order for us to get and obtain that $50,000 lower price vehicle, we need to unlock some advanced technology. And right now that we are doing that today, and he says creating and developing today, and that can be licensed to other manufacturers. So possibly by mid-decade, when we do have that lower price vehicle, there might be a partnership in the mix. Again, this is how I interpret that statement at least. Keep in mind though, it might be earlier than 2025. I would assume that the prototype and all the technology in 2024 for this $50,000 vehicle is already out potentially. So again, that's just how I interpret that. He does talk on here saying that he does see for a wider adoption of EV vehicles in the market that you need a more affordable vehicle with a smaller battery pack as well. So again, he has said this many, many times in the past, even more so in Q2. Majority of our reservations are for the Pure. So market says it wants a lower price vehicle, plain and simple. So I think we need to really prioritize a lower price vehicle in order for us to compete with other EVs. We already know the EV market is extremely hot. There's a massive amount of demand out there. And when there is demand, there's going to be a lot more competition. As we've seen, almost everyone under the sun for automakers are saying that basically they're going to be starting in EV by 2025. 2025 seems to be the benchmark for a lot of companies out there. And keep in mind though, this is just how I interpret things. I know there's a lot of people who put down comments saying that they want Lucid to be a higher priced vehicle and kind of be a very niche product. So 25,000, they're very big fans of the Sapphire. My only problem with that is what came out from the Q3 earnings. We went from 37 down to 34,000 reservations. I know technically there were some cancellations, and I know also there there was some sales as well that would have reduced some reservations. But if you scrape those aside, it goes to show that we didn't actually increase at all on a reservation, showing a little bit more of a lack of demand. So some people are wondering, why is Lucid going down after our Q3 earnings, things like that, when we have a lot of good upside potential? Well, plain and simple, it boils down to that. Our vehicles are showing not much demand. The market has said many times, even more so in the Q2 earnings, the majority of our reservations are for the pure. The market wants a lower price vehicle. Peter clearly has even acknowledged this, and many times in the past when he does say that we need to have a $25,000 vehicle and that it is attainable in roughly about 4 years. So he even says that. Market says that. Everyone says that we need a lower price vehicle. We need to prioritize that. So before I continue though, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Do you feel that Lucid should try to obtain a lower price vehicle that way, or should Lucid just stick to higher prices, so 100,000 or possibly higher than that? So let me know your thoughts on that. I know there is some individuals out there very much mixed and very much for the Sapphire. Again, I'm not knocking the Sapphire. I know that's a very good showcase vehicle. It showcases our performance and what Lucid can actually do in the bigger picture. But as far as the average individual, they are not going to be getting, or possibly even leasing or whatever, buying a $250,000 vehicle. It's just not in the cards. Maybe a racer, possibly, because even in the recent launch event, he does say that the wheel hubs of the Sapphire can come out for racing. So maybe it is just designed for racers, potentially. I'm not sure. Again, they haven't really been that transparent in the bigger picture on this. But once again, plain and simple, Peter wants a lower price vehicle. And as I mentioned, a lot of competition is going to be coming in. More recently, what Tesla announced as well. So Tesla did announce a $25,000 vehicle, and this is most likely going to be in China, but needless to say, a $25,000 vehicle, if they can do it, then other EVs can do it. And again, even though their technology might be a little bit lower, people are going to choose this product, so the Tesla Model 2 or the Model Q, 10 out of 10 times over a Lucid, or maybe 9 out of 10 possibly. No one can actually justify in their head, I'm going to spend $100,000 on a little bit better of technology, a little bit better range versus a $25,000 vehicle. Nobody on earth, in their right mind at least, will ever come to that conclusion. So this is why Peter has even said many times, and this is why the market's just pointing to, we need a lower price vehicle, plain and simple. And technically, even what Peter did say about the $50,000 vehicle, I feel that isn't even low enough right now. So especially considering, like I said, if we ever want to take market share from Tesla, for instance, or other EVs, because even Hyundai, a lot of other companies have come out saying they're going to be having a $30,000 EV by mid-decade. And so, like I said, competition is going to be very fierce. We need to act fast while we still do have a competitive advantage. So Lucid needs to prioritize that right now, in my opinion. But needless to say, since the beginning of Lucid's time, we've had a very good amount of institutions owning us, and so that could be seen as a positive sign. A lot of people see Lucid as the new Tesla 2.0, so they don't want to miss out on the massive rally that does follow when Lucid does become profitable. So I think it's going to be 2025, 2026 when Lucid does actually get profitable. Again, I'm not a financial advisor though, so do your own due diligence. But what is happening both on the secondary market and also the dark pool is very abnormal. So this is all the dark pool transactions as of right now. So it is actually a little bit lower than what we're used to. So again, that might be showing that institutions are taking a step back. And this is all the transactions that's being done so far on the secondary market. So this one is a little bit more abnormal. So 2.33 million. Keep in mind, a lot of institutions don't typically trade on the secondary market. They usually do it on the dark pool, but so that one definitely stood out to me. But needless to say, it still goes to show the exact same thing, that institutions seem to be taking a step back. And over and above that though, like I mentioned about what is happening with shorts, that one also is abnormal. So short score as of right now is 87. Higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. Utilization is 100%, showing 100% of the available shares to short are currently out. And as of right now, shorts today are increasing 2.18 million shares, bringing the grand total to 139.29 million shares being shorted. So it doesn't matter if we are down 8%, which looks like 8.08% or 8.17% now. Doesn't matter. Shorts are still very much bold and still very much thinking Lucid can go down at this stage in the game. So again, it's a sticky scenario. I like to use the shorts as a very good benchmark on what the other individuals are thinking. Of course, there's a lot of broader market conditions that are showing a little bit more red flags right now, in addition to Lucid's own very much red flags. So it's an interesting component right now, but I did actually buy today, so $10.50. I couldn't say no to that. So I think it was around 500 shares I did buy. So I'm happy with Lucid. Keep in mind though, my mentality is I'm investing for 2025, possibly longer. I'm not investing for these short-term swings, and I know and I accepted the fact that when Lucid is going to be the new Tesla 2.0, there's going to be a lot of volatility, especially for those of you that were in actually Tesla, for instance. During their early stages, that had a massive amount of volatility, much more than even what Lucid's going through right now. So for those of you that is been through the Tesla kind of scenario right now, this is just a cakewalk to you. So again, you need to practice due diligence, practice patience if you are going to be a good investor, and especially if you do trust your own gut and your due diligence, initial due diligence, then Lucid is going to do a lot of good things. But let me know your thoughts on that, and if you've been buying, selling, holding, whatever it has been or whatever you have been doing, give yourself a shout out in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.